Good Sunday morning. It's time for the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show. Yesterday, I went to Asheville. I had a really nice time. And I put some pictures up on my Instagram and had a wonderful time. I also shot a video of me going down the Asheville slope, going down into Old Fort. That was pretty cool. And today, I'm going to go ahead and discuss with you the top 10 albums of the 80s. I know I poo-poo on the 80s all the time. I'm constantly saying in my videos that I don't like 80s music, that I didn't listen to music in the 80s, blah, 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 blah. And now everybody's tired of hearing it, including myself. So I went ahead and I've made a list of my top 10 albums from the 80s. Now, these are going to be in pretty close to a particular order because I took some time to do this. And so, yes, I listened to music in the 80s. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I was listening to back 40 years ago. And I'm also going to show you all the things that I got from Asheville. I went to Mr. K's and I went to Harvest Records. And then I stopped at Nebo on the way back, but I didn't find anything at Nebo. Not this time. So let's get right into it. Which one should we do first? Well, let's go ahead and let me show you the stuff that I got. I got this on eBay. I've been waiting to get this. This is the last Alan Parsons album I think I need, except for he's got a new one coming out soon. This is On Air, and I used to have this back in the day, and then I got rid of a bunch of CDs, and here I go buying it again. So there you go. Ooh. It's got a little bit of a broken center on there. There's the disc. And yeah, that's pretty cool. This is a really good, this is after he broke with Eric Wolfson, and Eric Wolfson passed away. And then he continued on as the Alan Parsons group. So, seen him live twice. Amazing, amazing concert. And then I went to Mr. K's. And he's over in Asheville. And I like to pick up stuff there. They have lots of records at good prices. And they have a lot of books there. So if you're into books, Mr. K's in Asheville is the place to go for books. Because he's got a shit ton of books. And a lot of CDs there, too. I need to get back over there and look through some of their CDs and see what they got. Fill a couple of holes, maybe. So I found this there. And this, of course, is the Moody Blues. And Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. I don't leave Moody Blues behind. Especially at $3 a piece. And really nice shape. Really nice vinyl, and yeah, nice to have another copy of Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. Can't have enough of those. And how about our children's children? Possibly my favorite Moody's album, at least top 3. And look at that inner circle there on the, I've never seen that before. It's a different pressing of this album. I believe it's a U.S. press, but I'm not sure. The jury's still out on that one. So, yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. Different. I think it's what I looked up last night and I seen it's a first press. So for $3, I'll take that all day long. And then I got another copy of Dark Side, $3. Yep. I believe this is a first press. And I looked it up and it's a Winchester first press. It's really dirty. I don't have my Humming Guru back yet, but I will soon. The part came in, is being repaired, and I'm going to be up and running, and I'm going to show y'all pretty soon. I seen this there for $3. Now, I'm not going to leave this there for $3. This, of course, is Eddie Jobson Zinc, the one-time member of UK, and he made this album in the 80s. This is another one of those bands I was listening to in the 80s. There you go, 83. But, yeah, it's all the prog people from the late 60s and through the 70s that tried to be cool in the 80s. I'm going to show you some more of those bands here soon. You're going to see a similarity there. So this album here, it's got Gary Green on here. Gary Green, of course, is from Gentle Giant. This is a second copy of this that I have. So I will be putting one of these copies in my store. And that's in Discogs. The link will be below. And that's Big Chief Vinyl 57. Thank you all for your support. I usually have 1 to 2 sales every day. And I got 100% on selling and buying. So there you go. Can't go wrong with my bargain prices. Okay, so Eddie Jobson Zinc. Wasn't going to leave that there. Not for $3. No way. It's going in the store. That's an awesome 80s album. Then I seen this there, the Moody Blues. I never saw this cover before. This was $3. And it's called The Beginnings, Volume 1. So there you go. I guess there's a couple other Beginnings albums that they made. And one of them's David Bowie, one of them's Savoy Brown, one of them's Them, and one is Frigid Pink. I don't know. David Bowie, I probably would get that one. The other two I'd pass on. But this one here was pretty cool. I've never seen this album before. And for $3, that's going in my collection. And then I went over the Harvest Records. Harvest Records is my go-to in Asheville, North Carolina. I love to go to Harvest Records. And yesterday I went through all their used records, and then I went through all their used jazz albums as well, and picked out some gems. They have a basement there that you can make an appointment to go down, but right now they're not accepting any. I led to get down there in that basement, spent about 5 hours down there, so I had to leave the wife home, I think. How about this? How about some Marillion? Didn't have this 12-inch. I might have had it back in the day, I'm not sure. This has Assassin full version and Cinderella Search. And it's a 12-inch. And this was probably the most expensive thing I bought all day. I think it was $15. So there you go. Had to have it. Gotta have it. Gotta do it. How about Fire Ballet? This is their second album, Tutu. And their first album is called Night on Bald Mountain. I love them both. The first album I like a little bit better. But they're a band from New Jersey. Similar to Starcastle. Kind of like that prog movement that was happening and died in the United States during the heyday of the UK. I found this Elements album I did not have, Illumination. This album's got Bill Evans, Clifford Carter, Steve Kahn, and of course Mark Egan and Danny Gottlieb from where? They're from the Pat Metheny group. Very good there, Shirley, down in the first row there. Very good, very good. A nod to the Tony. And Elements, it's a great band. You got to listen to them. I think I have 6 of their albums. I think they only made like 6 of them. But this one here I had only on CD. I didn't have it on vinyl. I was happy to find it for $3 at Harvest Records. Here's their card there. And they're located in Asheville. This is the Steve Kahn album I did not have. It's called The Blue Man. This is a really good album. And Steve Kahn, he's an awesome guitar player. He's played with lots of different people. And he's middle of the road fusion. So he's not extreme like Mahavishnu or nothing, but he's really good. It's a new artist I've been listening to this year. Clannad. Did not have this one. Fuam. And this lady right here. There's Maura Brennan. There's Maura. And that's Enya. Enya Brennan. So if anybody listens to Anya or Enya, like Storms in Africa and stuff, this is her early on with her brothers and her sisters in the band Clannad. Awesome band. If you're into Anya and you've heard the song from The Last of the Mohegans, that's Clannad singing that song. So yeah, give them a listen. If you like Lorena McKinnon, you'll love Clannad. There you go. There's your comparison. How about Jan Ackerman? Gotta love you some Jan Ackerman for $5. A live album by him and no vocals. Some of his albums have vocals. I'm not really into. I don't want my fusion with vocals. Not very little. Like there's a little bit on Moroccan roll, Brand X, a little bit there. Not too much. Okay, so there you go. I give that a listen. And then he had a whole bunch of Anthony Phillips albums. I don't have most of his records. And I didn't have this one. This was $5. And he had 2 others. I think they were $9 a piece or something. So I didn't pick those up yet. But they're not going nowhere. Next time I go over there, they'll still be there. Because ain't nobody listening to Anthony Phillips except me. And probably North Carolina. I don't know. the original guitar player for Genesis. That's why I love Trespass so much. It's because of this man right here, Anthony Phillips. So that's quite a haul. 2 stores, and I scored big time score. Okay, so you ready to get into this? Here's my top 10. Where are we at? 10 minutes. What's my top 10 albums from the 80s? I know everybody's out there asking about it, and I have a lot of people that told me that, didn't you listen to music in the 80s? Of course there was good music. I know there was some good music in the 80s, but there was a lot of bad also. So here we go. We're going to start with the Moody Blues. Now, I love the Moody Blues, and this album, Long Distance Voyager, came out in 1981, and I was listening to this on cassette, as well as their follow-up to this. I think that follow-up was in 83, but this was their comeback album, and it's fantastic. So if you love the Moody Blues, 1980, what did I say? 1981. This is what Big Chief was listening to in 1981. There you go. I should have had these in order of the years, huh? Well, it's all right. 1980, we'll go back a year. How about this album? I'd only been in the service for a few years, and I used to play this album on my ship to my shipmates. I had a little DJ thing set up, me and HM2 Pike, Doug Pike, God rest his soul. And yeah, we had a little show. And we would start the show off with Peter Gabriel, On the Air. That was a good song to start the show with, wasn't it? And then I would play this album here because it was fresh. It was brand new. It was 1980. And yeah, we know who left. Steve Hackett left. But yeah, this was the album of what, after? And then there were 3, and then it was Duke. So the last really album with any prog on it was probably this album right here. And then it was all downhill. No, just kidding. It's just, you know. So that was number 9, and that was 1980. Now we're going to skip ahead to 81. We're going back to 81, and the Camel. The album is called Nude, and it was kind of resurgence for them. You know, they had a couple albums that were kind of stinkers, and didn't get much. And then this album here came out, and these one here shot up in the UK charts, I believe. But this album came out in 81. It's Andrew Latimer, and Pete Bardens had departed by then. And they came up with this masterpiece. It's called Nude. And that is coming in at number, what did I say? That was number 8. Number 7, coming in at number 7. Pat Metheny and Lyle Mays. As Falls, Wichita, So Falls, Wichita Falls. And this was 81 as well. This is what I was listening to in 1981. I love Pat Metheny. I've been listening to Pat Metheny before this album even came out, when he played with Jocko and a couple other people, Mark Egan, and like I was just talking about, all them guys from the original Pat Metheny group. And then he came out with this masterpiece with Lyle Mays. And I think I've listened to this album probably more than any other album I've ever listened to in my entire life. And I sent a copy of this to Prog Hat. I found an extra copy and I sent him one. Yeah, it's a great album. It's a must-have. For me, it's a must-have record in my collection. And I have a promo over there that I got. Yeah. That was number 7, right? Coming in at number 6. This album here, 90125, Yes. This album came out in 83, and this is probably the album I played the entire year. I can remember riding around in my car down in Florida and listening to this with my nephew over and over and over. We played this album. We bought all the 12-inch. I bought all the 12-inch singles and had all those too. And was all on MTV. And yeah, John Anderson was a rock star. Their number 1 hit. What was it? What was their number 1 hit? First song, first side. Owner of a Lonely Heart. Yeah, Yes is only number 1 song. But there you go. 90125. Then they had a 90125 live, and they had all the solos from the tour. And Rachel said she saw that tour. Coming in at number 5. I believe I'm in order here. I think I got 5. Yeah, I hope so. Number 5. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required. No Jacket Required was 85. Now we're skipping ahead to the middle of the 80s and 85. No Jacket Required. I mean, I love his first 2 albums. First album was really cool. He did the Beatles cover and stuff. By the time he got to this one here, he was a megastar. He was everywhere in the 80s. He was on TV. He was in movies. He was doing it all. Yeah, him drinking a little wine too, probably. But yeah, so yeah, we love Phil, and hopefully he lives on for many more years. But No Jacket Required is a great album and a great sandwich. Right? That was for my nephew. Number 4, Peter Gabriel. I could have picked any number of Peter Gabriel albums in the 80s. I was listening to all his solo albums, just about, were awesome in the 80s. He had Melt, and then we had, what did we have after that one? We had the one with Santa Cento, then we had this one, and this one here, I picked this one because it was significant, and the year was 1986, and it was so. And this is the album. He has the duet with Kate Bush, and they were just riding high. And this is my 4th favorite album of the 80s. It was so. We listened to this all the time. I can remember I was driving around my car one day. I'm not sure where I was. And Sledgehammer came on. I said, okay, Peter Gabriel, this is different. This is where he's going with this, but it was different to hear that for the very first time in a car. And yeah, so the album is wonderful. It's timeless. It's a perfect album. Coming in at number 3. Now, these guys here, I could have put all 4 of their albums in here for the 80s. And I've seen them live 3 times, twice with Fish. Oh, I think I gave it away. But I picked this album here, 1985. Coming in at Misplaced Childhood. It's probably my favorite Marillion album. If you ask me tomorrow, it'll probably be the next album. And if you remind me, ask me next week, it might be one of the first 2 albums. I love Fugazi, and I love Script. But they only made 4 with Fish, and there can only be 1. So today, it's this one right here. A perfect album, Misplaced Childhood, coming in 1985, and right through the middle of the 80s. And I went and seen them guys live. I didn't see that tour. I saw the Script tour, and I saw Fugazi tour. I did not see the Misplaced Childhood. And then I did not see them again until a couple years ago in Orlando. And they were doing the FU and Run tour. Okay, so coming in number 2. There's only one number 2, and that's going to be, again, Marillion, Clutching at Straws. Fish's last album he did with them, and just an awesome album. Another perfect album, coming in at number 2. And 87, I had already deployed by then, and I was not in the States for the next few years. And everything was, the Star Trek Generation was coming out, and Marillion was still getting hot, and I missed a lot of Anderson, Wakeman, Bruford Howe. I missed a lot of the 87 through 90 stuff, not being in the United States. But anyway, can't have regrets. Served my country. God bless those troops, by the way. So Clutching at Straws, number 2, coming in at number 2. There can only be number 1. There can only be one album that I listen to more than any other album besides that jazz album. A rock album. This is not the original album. I don't have the original one. This is a remaster, and it's The Dreaming by Kate Bush. My favorite Kate Bush album. I know some people like her follow-up to this, but yeah, this is my favorite. Always has been, probably always will be. And this is what I was listening to in the 80s. The Dreaming came out in, 82? Yeah. So a lot of this all happened between 80 and 85. There isn't too much here that was after 85. I just noticed that. Clutching at Straws, I think that's the only one. So here you go, The Dreaming, Kate Bush, my number 1 album that Big Chief was listening to in the 80s. 40 years ago. Can you believe it, folks? 40 years ago. The time's just flying by. That's all I got for you today. That's 20 minutes in. Y'all be good out there. Like I said, support those troops. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there. You're all doing a great job, I hope. And if you're not, buckle down and do that great job. We'll talk to you soon. And bye for now.